Living in Florida, there is always something greening up and always something that needs mowing, so we need multiple ways to mow out here. And when we first bought Piney Grove, we had one mowing machine that did everything, and that's this very old, very beat up brush hog. And a brush hog can do a lot of mowing, but it's designed to do light brush. So it has a gearbox that transfers the power of the PTO down to two blades, and those blades spin and cut, just like most things that mow do. The problem is that it's not a one size fits all. And by that I mean it does everything okay, but it doesn't really do everything great. And also this will windrow tall grass. So if you're doing brush, you don't really care how the brush gets broke down into little pieces. But with grass, it chops it off. Say your grass is this tall, it chops it off low, and then it expels it out into windrows. And that doesn't leave a clean, even cut. And because we wanted a cleaner cut than the brush hog could give us, especially out on the pastures when we're not trying to hay them and they get tall and we want to knock them down, we bought this finish mower. This is a John Deere 6-foot finish mower, and unlike the brush hog, it has three blades that are more like a lawnmower blade. So these are a lot thinner than the brush hog blades, so you can't hit brush with them. So this really becomes a one-trick pony. You can really only cut grass, very, very light brush. And if you do cut brush, you're probably going to end up messing up your blades. So this became another piece of equipment that was very specialized and we were only using for one thing, which was to cut grass and leave a lawn-like finish, much like a zero-turn mower would do. And the comment I get the most when I'm running the brush hog in a big area of grass, tall grass, or when I run this in a big area of tall grass and it's bunching up and it can barely handle it is, why don't you get a flail mower? You need a flail mower. Why don't you have a flail mower? Well, folks, you're right. I didn't have one, but I've got one now. Last year, we bought a used WoodMax wood chipper off a Facebook Marketplace, and we've been using it all around Piney Grove to clean up our property. We have probably chipped 3 or 4 dump truck loads of chips with it, and we've just been really impressed with the product. And through our wood chipping videos, WoodMax got in touch with us and said, hey, we're getting ready to launch a new product, and we want you to be a part of it. So this is it. This is the newest addition to Piney Grove. We've got the WoodMax FM62H flail mower. So 62 is our width, and it is a hydraulic side shift. So that's why it's on the Summit LX25 tractor, because our Kubota tractor doesn't have rear remotes or rear hydraulics. What the hydraulics allow it to do is it allows you to center it directly behind the tractor, but also you can push it all the way to one side, like if you're mowing a pond bank or any other reason you would want to have mowing done outside of the edge of your tires. Now, if you've never received new equipment, nowadays they directly ship to you, and it comes usually in a big tractor trailer truck, a box truck with that really, really tall bed, and sometimes they have a lift gate. So if you are ordering equipment from any manufacturer out there, they've really got it dialed in, and WoodMax actually makes a special crate that's bolted together like an erector set, and this thing came 100% undamaged. It was wrapped in clear plastic, and it's just like it came off the assembly line. There's no scratches, there's no dents, but there is some assembly required. So I had to put this bracket on here with 6 bolts. Actually, it was 8 bolts, and that's for your top link. And then your hoses here, your hydraulic hoses, don't have ends on them. So I had to buy some Pioneer ends for my hydraulic hoses, because the Summit has 2 female Pioneer hydraulic quick disconnects or couplers here. So I put 2 males on the hoses here. That wasn't too hard to do, but I had to go and get them. And also, while I was at the auto parts store, I got some gear oil because they ship the gearbox dry. So I put 2 quarts in it, and that seemed to bring it up to the right level. Other than that, everything else was pretty straightforward. I did have to take off the cover of the PTO in order to put on the slip clutch because there was no room with the cover on, but that was 4 bolts, that was easy. And I did have to cut the PTO shaft to size it for the Summit tractor, because this is a mid-size tractor, or it's not a subcompact, it's a true compact tractor, so you don't have a lot of space between the back of the tractor and the beginning of the piece of equipment. And because of that, this tractor generally takes a very short PTO shaft. So I did have to cut the PTO shaft. So there is a little bit of preparation before you can get mowing, but there's another thing I want to talk about before we take this out in the field and test it. If you're not familiar with how a flail mower works, we showed you how a rotary cutter works, we showed you how a finish mower works, but this operates in a totally different manner. Instead of spinning blades horizontal to the ground, what it does is it has a drum. And I've already taken out the 2 bolts here that allow you to lift this cover, but this cover is removable, or at least it hinges so that you can get in here if you ever bind it up. So when you open this up, and never do this when it's running, when you open this up, you can see you have almost like a rototiller. You have a horizontal shaft here, and on that shaft, just like a rototiller, you have a bunch of tines or cutting edges. And then there's a roller back here that doesn't allow you to dig them into the ground, and that helps with your height adjustment. So I don't know everything about this mower. I have spent some time putting it together. I've spent some time looking it over, but it's going to take practice. Like any piece of equipment that's new to you, you're going to have to use it for a while before you learn to make it operate as efficiently as it was designed. But I want to talk about these teeth right here for a minute before we button this back up and go cut some grass. Here's the roller and how it mounts. And you can see you can lower that down, and that will actually raise the height of your cutting height. And then these skids will ride along the ground. And all of that is to keep your blades from hitting the dirt. This flail mower came with what's called Y blades. So you'll see these blades, they actually hinge right here. They're just a little tight from the manufacturing paint, but they're a Y-shaped blade. And each one of those Ys has a cutting edge, and there's also a cutting edge in the center. So as your grass comes across here and gets cut, it gets mulched as well. So that's the big advantage, and why everyone was saying that we needed a flail mower out here on Piney Grove, was because the brush hog was leaving them long windrows of grass, and this will actually chop it up a lot like a finish mower, but it's more rugged than a finish mower, and you can actually cut some brush with it. And I think that's why more and more property owners are getting a flail mower instead of a brush hog, because with a brush hog you can take on some pretty big material, and a lot of people don't need that on their property. They might have some overgrown brush, you know, that's maybe 1 inch or so in diameter, and a flail mower will take care of that. Now, one thing that WoodMax asked me to do is, after I got used to the mower and its capabilities, was to switch out all these Y blades with what's called a hammer blade. So these blades here fit in the same location, except they're one continuous edge. And what they want me to do is compare the cut quality of the Y blade versus the hammer blade. So we'll do that in an upcoming video, but for now, we're just going to take these Y blades out to the pasture. I've got some 2-foot tall rye grain out there that I planted last fall. It's starting, some of it's starting to go to a seed head, so I think that'll be a good demonstration of how much this will mulch it up, because the rye has a tough stem, and it'll be interesting to see how much it mulches it and how clean a cut it leaves. So we'll put this cover back on. I'll show you real quick that it just has a bolt on each side, and it hinges there. This bolt you can't get to because the other side of it is the drive chain, but they left that in a manner that it will hinge up. So you loosen this one you don't need to do anything with, and then you take these 2 off, and you can get access to that whole cutting drum. And the size of these bolts are 18 millimeter. Okay guys, we're over here to the field. It's about ½ acre or so. You can see just how stocky and stringy this is. It'll be a good test of that flail mower. So before we get going, let's show you how it side shifts. So it goes over to the left. That's as far as it goes over there. There's some offset, 6 or 8 inches on the other side of that tire, but the gearbox is on that side. But over here is where most of your cutting offset will be, and I'll show you how wide it is. So there's the look from the back of it being offset, and then we'll come around here and look from the tractor back, and you can see how much it does extra outside the tires. It's also interesting to watch as this PTO shaft flexes left and right. Now that's a significant angle right there for the shaft. We'll center it, then we'll offset cut after we do a few passes like this. I'm going to turn up the RPMs a little bit before I turn the PTO on so it doesn't stall the tractor. Yeah, it takes quite a bit of power. I'm going to start off riding the skids on the ground. So that's a different experience for sure, because with a brush hog, you have a tail wheel and you can tell how far it is off the ground as far as the deck, the mowing deck. And the same thing with a finish mower. They have 4 wheels on them and they ride on the wheels and you don't adjust the depth at all. With a flail mower, you don't adjust the depth, but you also can't really see how tall it's cutting until you look behind you. So the cut here is fairly even, except where the tires of the tractor knocked over the ryegrass, and that's going to happen with any mower. A finish mower would have a little bit of lift. A brush hog really doesn't have much lift at all. But as far as chopping up the stems, it definitely did that as advertised. But the stems are all in little pieces, and so they'll mulch down and help improve the soil. And that's definitely better than a brush hog, which would have left all of these pieces not mulched up in a row here. So you'd have long stems like this laying in a row. And with a finish mower, it would have done a very similar job to this, probably would have done a little bit better with the lift, but it's not as durable. And if this was much thicker, it would choke out the finish mower so much and it would bog down the tractor so much, you would have to go real slow in order for it to process all the grass that it needed to process with those 3 blades spinning around. So it's a different experience. Obviously it cuts it well. I'm going to finish cutting the rest of this so you can see it, and then we'll come back, talk about it a little bit, and close out the video. So I learned something on that pass, and like I said earlier, you don't know all the nuances of a new machine or a new implement until you've used it a while. And let me show you what I did wrong here. When I came around the corner from the last row coming out of, I turned around and I dropped the 3-point hitch all the way down, and it actually put the cutters into the dirt. You can see the rows they were making here. And then when I realized it, I heard the tractor bogging down. When I realized it, I lifted it up, and then it did a much better cut. So that's that feel you got to get used to. I don't know if I should adjust that skid downward, and that'll always keep the cutting head up higher, or not, but I definitely got to be careful and not slam that 3-point hitch lever all the way down. I got to make it so the skids just barely touch the dirt. But right now the skids are on the dirt, and top link is a little loose, but it hasn't slid all the way back yet. So I could probably lift up on it a little bit. This side you can better see the adjustments. You could push that skid down. And I think for us out here that's wise, because we don't have perfect ground. Now this ground has been tilled, so there's dirt clods out there, as opposed to the rest of the pasture behind us, which has been driven on and mowed and everything, and more flat. So I think for us, if we push that down, our blades will last a lot longer, or at least they'll stay sharper a lot longer. Wanted to share a few things with you while it was fresh in my mind. So that's a 25 horsepower tractor. It's got 18 PTO horsepower. So by the time the horsepower comes out of the engine, goes through the transmission, and gets to the back to drive an implement like this, it's lost some horsepower. Now, the data plate for the flail mower says 20 horsepower. I don't know if that's PTO horsepower or tractor engine horsepower, but this tractor is handling it fine. It's 715 pounds, so that's quite a bit of weight behind this tractor, but it feels very stable even when I slide it to the side and do some side mowing. Now, I will say that I tried to start it at idle. By started, I mean start the PTO of the flail mower, and the tractor stalled out because I didn't have enough RPMs. So I'm starting it at about 1800 to 2000 RPMs. Flail mower kicks in, I get the momentum going, and then I crank it up to about 2500 RPMs on the tractor, which gives you 540 PTO RPMs, which is where that runs at. Now, when it's side shifted, that weight kind of dips on the side that's shifted. So if you're looking at the skid on this side to get your height, you're probably going, instead of sitting level, you're probably going to dip on the shifted side. And I did that down here when I was doing some shifted mowing, and the blades hit the dirt a little bit. You can not only tell them hitting the dirt from the dust, but you can feel the tractor bogging down. So I think the key to a flail mower is getting that height so it rides right above the ground. And it has to do with the 3-point hitch, but I think more importantly, it has to do with that roller on the back, because it's just too easy to treat it like another type of mower on wheels, where you just drop it all the way and go, and you can't do that with a flail mower. Or at least that's what I'm learning. And this is my first experience. I am presenting this flail mower for WoodMax, but if I'm an expert at anything, and it's probably nothing, but if I'm an expert at anything, it's brush hogging or bush hogging. I know people like to correct me on that. For brush hogging, I could tell you kind of everything about the angles and all that. I'm gonna need more experience before I can do that on this machine. But it is so popular out there that obviously other people are getting it and they're enjoying it, because this seems to be the trend in mowing. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish mowing. I think I've showed you guys enough, so you probably don't wanna watch me go back and forth a bunch more times. But be sure to check out this flail mower at the WoodMax website. We'll leave a code down below for share a sale if you're interested in supporting the channel and buying through that link. But otherwise, we've enjoyed presenting this mower to you. We've enjoyed being outside and just enjoying the outdoors, and of course, enjoying time on a tractor. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please click that like button. Otherwise, we'll catch you on the next one. And remember, life's short, tractor hard, and check out a flail mower.